Hey, you're listening to the Reasons Podcast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
What's up, people, and welcome to Season 2 of the Reasons Podcast. That's kind of crazy to say because I never thought I would do seasons, but it just made sense to start a new season because the way that Season 1 ended, the way that I am now from the end of Season 1 or from when I was making all of the episodes in Season 1 to now, it's pretty different. Maybe not drastically different, but relatively different to the point where it makes sense that this is a new season. And the ideas and the episodes from here on will, they'll be a little bit similar to the last, but they're different enough that I felt like they had their own place. But ironically, this episode is going to be kind of like the other ones because it's a bridge. It's a bridge from what I was doing before to what I'm doing now or what I plan to do in the future because fingers crossed things go how I want them to. But as you know, in life, things don't always go how you want. But yeah, so this episode is literally just like no script, no topic, and essentially just I'm going to go over the new beginnings, as the title of the episode will tell you. The new beginnings, the new ideas, and kind of just what's going on at the moment and what's led me to actually want to make Season 2. So, first of all, the entire idea behind the podcast has kind of changed. Not the entire idea, but the idea of what I want it for has changed. Because when I started Season 1 and when I started making the podcast in general, it was just because it was something fun. And that was it, right? It was something to do, something fun, something to get my ideas across. And that was it. There was no ulterior motive. There was no plan really for like where it was going to end up. And that's changed. That's changed a lot because I've realized that I need to be a bit more intentional with the things that I do. So there are certain things that I was doing. Like I made a YouTube video, for example, of me learning how to draw, right? And when I first started doing that, it was because I thought that drawing was going to be something that was going to help me with making YouTube videos and animations and whatnot. And after doing it for a little bit, I realized that this isn't me. Like this isn't something that I'm actually going to be doing or something that's really going to help me. So I stopped. And the old me would be like, damn, you quit. Damn, like, you're supposed to get it done and you didn't, blah, blah, blah. But I've realized I've got to be a bit more intentional with the things I do. Like, I could always have an animator. I could ask a friend, hey, can you make an animation for me? And then I can just stick to the things that I'm good at. I don't have to do, everything on my own. So the reason I use that example is because the podcast is kind of like, how do I put this? It's like the part of the creation of a portfolio, right? So the experience that I've gained running a podcast, having a schedule and editing and doing all of this stuff is experience that I hope will take me into what I want to do in the future, which is, drumroll please, have my own radio show. And as much as that's kind of a new idea, I kind of always thought it would be cool. Like I remember when I was doing my A-levels and when I was in politics, for example, my mum would be like, hey, wouldn't it be so cool if you were like the news correspondent or something like that? And I was always like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. But I don't know, like it was never really a thing that I really, really wanted to do. But I've realized over the time of doing this podcast and talking and writing essays and just thinking about so much stuff, I would love to just have that as a job, talk to important figures. Like when I had Nathaniel on, that was so fun. As much as he's just my friend, like learning stuff about the way that other people's lives work or the other industries work is just incredibly fun. Like there's so much about it that I enjoy. And I feel like there's so much about it that people like Nathaniel enjoy. Like there's an idea or there's like a feeling of we both gain from it, if that makes sense. So I get to understand his world, he gets to understand my world, and we both learn from each other's world. As much as we're just friends and we could do that just over the phone or if we met up or whatever, there's a difference when it's a podcast, or there's a difference when you're on somebody's radio show, when you're being interviewed, and it's like yeah, so I guess it's a little bit more professional, but I think that's where I can fill a certain gap maybe in the market where I don't want it to feel that professional. I don't want it to be, hey, I'm going to grill you about these questions, about these things. I want it to be personable, and I want my personality to be the driving force of my brand or of the show if I was to have one. And this podcast is essentially the creation of a portfolio. Like if I go to BBC and say, hey, like I'd really like my own show, I'm happy to take an entry level job, you know, maybe being an assistant for somebody else's show or helping edit or whatever. At least if I've done this podcast and I've taken it a lot more seriously and promoted and, you know, got a studio space and had visuals and all this stuff, at least I have something to tell them instead of, hey, I just did a podcast for fun and I didn't really have an idea of where it was going to go. Because then they'd be like, bro, why would I give you a show? What if 2 weeks after you get your show, they're like, or I'm like, I don't know anymore. It was just meant to be for fun and now it's a bit too much, you know? And when I realized that the podcast, I don't want that for the podcast. I don't want it to be like hey, I'm doing it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and now I'm done with it. I actually really want to do it. I realized, you got to be a bit more intentional about it. You have to do the hard stuff, like make shorts and promote and get a studio space and make reels and all of this extra stuff that goes into having your own show. You need to do it. And that's the fundamental difference between season 1 and season 2. Season 1 was a bunch of fun. It was great. I came on here, I shouted, I had a good time. And it's not like I'm going to stop doing that, but I'm going to do it and do the extra. You know, with season 1, there was no extra. There was no mashups. There was no visuals. There was no intentionality, if that makes sense. I would just come on and talk about the things that I liked. And I liked it. And some of you guys liked it. I know people sent me messages like, hey, I really like the podcast. It's really fun. And the fun isn't going to go away. So I guess for you guys, maybe it's going to be the exact same, right? The experience might be the same, you know. Everything is going to be like, I'm not changing. I'm not becoming a new person or anything like that. But behind the scenes, it's going to be different. So I guess maybe it being season 2 is for me, you know, is to show me where I decided, hey, like I want to take this seriously. Because in an ideal world, and it's really nice I get to say this out loud and it's recorded because then it makes it real. You know, I don't know if I've said this before, but when you write something down or once you say it out loud or tell somebody about it, it becomes real. Because when it's just in your head, it's like, oh, well, you know, if you don't do it, it was only in your head, nobody knows, and there was no pressure, right? But, you know, now that I can say out loud, it changes it, right? So in an ideal world, you know, I have my own radio show where maybe I talk about the news and maybe I talk about cultural shifts and things like that, right? Things that are a bit more mainstream because, after all, if I'm going to have a show on BBC or ITV or a platform or like, I don't know, a news company or whatever it is, right? There's going to be certain limits on what I can do, obviously. Like they are a big corporation or they're a big company. I can't just go on there and just do anything, you know. They will expect me to have certain numbers, certain viewers, certain listeners. And it will take away, obviously, from some of the stuff that I want to do because I'm not going to be able to make all the decisions unless I buy the company. Like, bro, if I buy the company, then hey, that's best case scenario, isn't it? But realistically, that's not going to be the case. So what I want the podcast to be, and I'll get onto the issue in a little bit, is the outlet, right? So I go into work and I've got my show and yeah, it's still me and I get to do things I want. But yeah, there are some limits and there are things that I probably can't talk about, or there are things that even if I can talk about them, I can't talk about them to the extent that I want to. It's not like I would be fake and say things I don't believe or don't mean, but there's a level of personality that I can show that I would be able, well, at least I'd be able to show more on this platform, right? Because it's just mine. There's no limits or anything like that, right? And that's what I want the podcast to be. I want it to be a space for me to talk about things that maybe I wouldn't be able to talk about if I had this corporation that I was working for, this company I was working for. So that is what I mean by new beginnings, right? It's a change in perspective, a change in ideology, a change in attitude towards this thing, towards this nice podcast that I've created. And sometimes I realize that people come out of uni and they want to do what I've said I just want to do, and they haven't done anything like this. Like, they haven't set up a podcast. And as much as season 1 wasn't the most intentional, as I said, for the last 10 minutes, as much as season 1 wasn't that intentional, it's still something, right? It's still experience. It's still, I had guests on, I spoke on my own, I spoke about different topics, I did episodes with a script, or maybe not with a written script, but with like bullet points and things written down, and then I did episodes without one. And I think that on its own, I might have to give myself a bit more credit for, because I often don't. I often make out like, hey, you should be doing so much more, and it's a natural thing for people to do. But season 1 is still experience. As much as this is a new beginning and this is a new attitude, like, season 1 is still a thing. And I guess, like, for any of you out there who are in similar situations, maybe you're making music, maybe you're trying to play a sport, maybe you're writing books or writing articles. The beginning phase, when you did things and you weren't intentional and it was just a hobby, because that's what most things that are creative are. They start off as a hobby. I can't imagine somebody would be like, hey, I'm going to start writing articles because I want to be a journalist, but I have no passion for it. Like, I doubt that's it, right? So when you start, a lot of the time it's because you have passion, but you don't really have any intentionality about it, because you don't see it as, hey, this is what I want to do in my life. You just see it as, hey, I'm having some fun. So that stuff that you did in the beginning, when it was like that, is still something. It's still experience. Like, the YouTube videos that I've made are still experience. The season 1 of this podcast is still experience, right? And it's also stuff to learn from. When there were pauses in some of my episodes in season 1, I will learn from that and know that, hey, maybe it's because I didn't truly outline what I wanted to talk about, or maybe it's because I didn't fully think out my arguments, or, all of these different kinds of things that make up the final product, which make up the show that I'm fantasizing about, or that make up season 2 or season 3, or, all of these things that are a bit down the line from where I was back then. So, yeah, I guess that's the reason for there to be a season 2. And I guess that's all I really need to say about it, because I guess the proof will just be in the pudding. I guess that's the saying, isn't it? Like, the podcast, the season 2, everything from now on will just speak for that change in attitude. Like I said, it might be the same for you, but you might realize some subtle differences. Maybe the way I speak is a bit more thought through, and maybe the visuals or the shorts or reels, if I decide to go down that route and do them, maybe you'll see that and be like, oh, wow, like, oh, it's a bit more intentional, it's a bit more professional, or I don't know. I feel like those are the only words I could think of: professional and intentional, But yeah, that's enough for the podcast. Now I'm just going to talk about everything else, everything that's formulated this change in ideas. And it's crazy how it happened, because I didn't think it would. Like, it's not like it's been a long time. It's not like I was doing season 1 and the YouTube from before, like 2 years ago. This is literally just like a month ago, right? My last YouTube video I made just before I started my uni degree, like my master's degree, sorry. And the last episode of season 1, before I like made it known in my mind that the next episode was going to be the last one, was just before Christmas, which is literally like a month ago. And I had no intentions really of making it what I'm now hoping to make it. But it just hit me one day. I was watching the comment section with Brett Cooper. Well, it's not with Brett Cooper anymore. Bro, that whole situation with Brett Cooper and the Daily Wire and Reagan Conrad, I think her name is so nuts. Like, I didn't even realize it when I was watching the video. But anyway, if you guys want to know what it is, basically it's like this... Brett Cooper's like, she's just a girl, right? She's just a girl. I think she blew up on TikTok maybe ages ago. And then she got a show on the Daily Wire, which is like this conservative news outlet. And she talks about a lot of culture stuff and society stuff. And it's a big inspiration, actually, for what I want to do, even though I didn't know of her until maybe like a month ago. But yeah, all of her stuff is really cool. But I was watching one of her videos and I was like, damn, I have so many opinions on what she's talking about. And I think like she goes over a lot of conservative values, and she has big problems with like OnlyFans girls and liberals and left-wing movements and all of this stuff, right? But I was like, as much as I really like what she's doing, I feel like there's something that isn't being said that I could say. And when it hit me that she's so young, she's like a year older than me, and she had so much to say, I was like, there's no real age limit on what you have to say. There's no, oh, you're too young to talk on this topic, you're too young. And that's kind of what I thought. I was like, I couldn't be on BBC, I couldn't be on the news, I'm far too young. And then I was watching her video and I was like listening to what she had to say, and I was like, damn, like I have a lot to say on this as well. So when I was watching one of those videos, I had this idea for this series of essays or videos, I guess I could call it, that essentially answer a bunch of questions about Gen Z. So I can pull them up for you real quick. The first episode is literally just like an introduction episode. It's literally just, it's called Is There Still Hope for Gen Z? I've recorded it, edited it. I literally just posted it like 2 hours ago on my YouTube. So I'll put it in the description, the link to my YouTube. If you want to go and watch, please do. I'm really happy with it. Even though, oh my God, the lighting in like half the video is so bad. But again, experience, right? But yeah. So the first episode was literally just Is There Still Hope for Gen Z? It's like an introduction to the remainder of it. And essentially, it's like, I don't know exactly how many episodes they're going to be, because maybe 6 episodes in, I might think of another one. But thus far, we have 11 questions. So, is there still hope for Gen Z? Is Gen Z dating really ruined? Because I think the discourse around modern dating is so interesting. And that is something that Brett does talk about a little bit. Actually, quite a lot, actually. But there are some things that I agree on and agree with and disagree with. So I thought it'd be really cool to do my own outlook, especially as someone in that dating world. Someone in that dating world. I know a lot of people who are also like actively dating. I mean, I'm not really actively, I don't know, it's kind of weird. So I don't know everything, but as I'll get into in a little bit, other people having opinions is also really important. So yeah, is Gen Z dating really ruined? Are Gen Z people really more lazy? There's this massive idea that Gen Z people just don't have the same drive as people from other generations. Are Gen Z men really trash? And the same for, are Gen Z women really trash or toxic? And the divide between men and women nowadays in this modern society is crazy. It's like all women think men are trash, they hate men, and all men are scared of women. It's nuts. So I feel like it'd be really cool to make videos and talk about that as well. Then one on, is Gen Z feminism really feminism? That is a very, very interesting thing. And it's something that I'm actually like, I know I'm a guy, and there's this whole thing that guys should never speak about feminism. Guys should never speak about women, blah, blah, blah. But I actually don't care. So when I make that video, I'm going to have a really good time, because modern feminism is not feminism, in my opinion. It is very dangerous. It is very misleading, and it makes women think that the things that modern society tells women that feminism is just, I just don't understand. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. Like, the things that they say are empowering are really just degrading, and the things that they say are like lifting women up are just pushing men down. So that episode's going to be really fun. Then, is Gen Z over-sexualized? Huge debate on that. Like, everything about Gen Z is, bro, everything is sex. It's nuts. You know, you have this whole pause thing. Like, somebody will say a sentence like I play basketball, and we'll say good D, like good defense, and everybody thinks pause, because, you know, they're thinking about good D, good dick, whatever. And it's nuts that that's actually just it's like the default is just what people think of when they hear certain phrases. It's like, I'll say come here, which is like a baseline fundamental thing that you need to say. Like, if you're not saying the phrase come here, then how are you communicating to people to get to where you are, you know? But people don't think about it like that. They don't think, oh, it's that. They think sex. So that episode will be good. Is Gen Z Is Gen Z too desensitized? You know, we see tons of stuff about, like, let's say you open X and you could just see a video of somebody getting shot. Or movies, you can just see just stuff that you wouldn't see in real life. and it means that when you do see that stuff in real life, you're just not sensitive to it anymore because you've just seen so much of it. So that would be pretty interesting. Then are Gen Z OnlyFans girls really hopeless? And I might change the title of that because it's kind of convoluted. It's kind of a lot. But that brand of women, I guess that kind of ties in with the feminism video, because a lot of OnlyFans girls think that they're doing OnlyFans because it's a form of empowering women, which again is just so dumb. But whatever, that video is going to be kind of interesting to see if there's actually any hope for them. As much as we're talking about if there is hope for Gen Z, is there really hope for those kinds of women who have done things, who have said things and produced some stuff that maybe is like irredeemable? You know, maybe there's no way back for them. That'll be pretty interesting. And the final one, order. Don't think about the order. I just said them all in random order. Are Gen Z gym bros really high value men? Because there's this whole discourse that, you know, gym bros, finance bros are like high value men because they go to the gym, they think about their body, they make lots of money. And there's an interesting idea that those kinds of men lack the emotional, or like to be that kind of man, to be that kind of career centric, fitness centric, self-centered, because I guess that's part of it, right? You can't really be that invested in your body and your career unless you're kind of self-centered. There's the idea that those kinds of men lack the emotional side that is necessary to be valuable in relationships. So women might be like, oh, I want my man to be really fit and have loads of money. And then they get with that man and they're like, damn, this guy has no empathy. He has no emotional intelligence. And I mean, that is a part of chasing money or chasing fitness or chasing self-improvement, is that you kind of lose some of the emotional side of life and relationships because you are so focused on yourself, which, you know, modern society tells people that that's really good. I don't agree, but I'll get into that when I get into it. And the really cool thing about all of these questions is that my past YouTube videos, when I've had questions like these, maybe not as interesting as these and relevant as these, is that I've just sat in my room and talked about them. You know, so when I had a topic that, like feminism, for example, that I don't know that much about. Well, no, that's wrong. I know a lot about modern feminism because I've read a lot and I've seen a lot, but I'm not a woman, right? So I don't do some of the things that women say are feminism, like the empowering stuff and, you know, selling your body and doing all of this stuff that they say is empowering. Obviously, I have no idea about that. So I'm hoping, no, not hoping, bro, just let's speak it into existence. I'm going to go and like do some public interviews, right? Where I go and talk to people and ask some questions about the video to get a broader grasp of what people think, what Gen Z think about this stuff. And that will inform part of the video. So my idea at the moment is, you know, do an introduction, talk about the topic, or maybe give my opinions, go out in public and then talk to people about it, put some clips in, some interesting things, talk about those interesting things, and then conclude the video. And that whole idea of doing that is so interesting to me, because not only am I finding out things that I really want to find out the answers for, like, are Gen Z women really trash? Because if I know that, like, if I've, you know, conducted some case studies and I've done some research, I've made a video about it, it changes the way that I think about my relationships with women and the way that I interact with women, because maybe I'll learn some things that I didn't know before. Or with this whole gym bros and finance bros thing, maybe that's going to change the way that I think about going to the gym and prioritizing money and all of that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's really exciting. It's an exciting endeavor, and fingers crossed. Well, I'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, fingers crossed that goes good. And it's really nice to have a series, because when I was making my videos before, as much as ideas just come to me, as you would have seen in season 1, like I literally just, the most random things are talking points for me. Having a series with these questions that I've laid out, things that I'm actually interested in, makes the stress of thinking of what to talk about or thinking what to make a video about so much less. Like, it seems like it's not that big of a deal, since I am often really good at just coming up with random ideas, but not having to think about that is so nice. It's like I've just made Is There Still Hope for Gen Z, the first episode, and now I know that the next one I want to do is Gen Z dating really ruined? So I know, all right, just work on that, write a script for that, write questions down that I'm going to go ask people for that, you know, and then once I've done that one, then on to the next, and on to the next. And it might seem like a small thing because I could just think of those questions at the time. In this time of my life where everything it feels stressful and it feels like tasks are really difficult. I spoke a little bit about that in the Is There Still Hope for Gen Z, about everything just being difficult and the world being nuts and blah blah blah. So go watch the video. But yeah, in this time of my life where things feel like that, just having that piece of, all right, this is what I'm doing next. This is what I'm doing next. This is when I need to do that. It's just so nice. It's so nice. But yeah, that's the idea for the YouTube. So I guess that's also in a season 2. I guess. I think I actually made, funnily enough, 10 YouTube videos before I just posted that one, or maybe 9. So it's kind of nuts. The podcast had 10 episodes. Season 2 starts with the 11th. And the YouTube had 9 or 10 videos. And then this new beginning, season 2, starts with the 10th or 11th, which is pretty cool. But yeah, what I was going to say, when I said I'll talk about that in a little bit, are 2 things. The first thing, quicker, is that for every single video that I make, I will have an article for it on this this app or website called Substack. I guess it's both. It's an app and a website. And it's pretty nice, actually. And I'll give you the rundown of how it's not, because that seems like quite a lot, you know, making a video and writing an article. But essentially my script for the video is the article. So for those people who read the script or who read the article and then go watch the video, I might say a lot of the same things. But it's mainly so that I can reach more people and different kinds of people, because some people don't like watching videos. They can't sit there for 10 minutes or 15 minutes like the first episode was. So they just want to read it. They find it easier to read, or they like reading it more. And I still like writing, like I love writing. So for me, it's not really any work to take something from script form and then make it an article. So yeah, on Substack, there'll literally be an article for every single one. Like one went out with the video today, and there'll be one for every single episode from here on out. And it's, like I said, really nice because it's not really much extra work. Like I write the script, which is weird because like it's not really a script. It's essentially I write the article, but I keep some bits in a form so when I read them for the video, I can branch off in different directions. Like it's not like I'm a robot reading from a teleprompter. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I leave some room for me to be creative and say different things and, you know, that kind of thing. So then once I have that and I've recorded the video, I then go back to the script and then just like make it coherent, make it article form. Because, you know, if all fails and I can't have a career in TV or radio or whatever, then hey, look, here's a portfolio of 11, 12 articles that I've written about this thing that's really important to everybody in my generation. You know, so that's what I mean about the intentionality of things. Like I'm thinking about what I'm going to get from doing things. And some people might say, oh, that's like, yeah, you're not having any fun in life by thinking that much about the future. And the reason I'm saying that is because that's how I used to think. I'm like, bro, why are you doing all this extra stuff, bro? Like, there's no need to do all this extra stuff. Just have fun. But it is fun. So if it can be fun and intentional, then why the hell not, right? So yeah, that's the first thing. I know I said quicker, so you might be scared for what the second thing is. So hopefully it's not as long as you think. But I just joined this society at my uni called NSTV, which is essentially just the TV society here at the university. And you might think, oh, well, it's whatever, it's not that important. But because I have friends, somehow I have friends in there, or one friend, I guess, it might be an opportunity for me to streamline and improve on some of those YouTube videos, right? So I might be able to go there and say, hey guys, like I have this idea for a video. Would you guys come and film with me in public? Because you can't interview people outside without a cameraman. You know, you can't interview people without an idea of how to do interviewing. So being part of that society, I know I don't have that long left at uni, but being part of that society, I'm going to learn a lot of things and further my portfolio a little bit more. And it might also help the podcast because I've done a couple of things with them before. Like, we did an interview with my friend. I guess that's how we met. She interviewed me and a couple others from the basketball team before our big game, our varsity game at the end of last year. And yeah, the way they do things is really cool. Like, she's a really good interviewer. She's really good at all the stuff that she does. And yeah, it might mean some good things for the podcast because I know they have some space on campus. Like, they have a show. It's called The Gist, I think. Something like that, right? Where, like, there's a bunch of girls and they sit and they record, like, an episode or, like, this series or whatever. I don't know if it's a podcast because they are sat there with microphones, but it is on YouTube. So it might just be like a podcast, but it's just got visuals, not like this. It's got visuals, and I don't know if they release it anywhere else. But, like I said, if they can do that, then, you know, maybe if I get enough XP in NSTV and make enough friends and do enough of the right stuff, then maybe I could use a space. You know, maybe I can use a space somewhere on campus, or maybe they know somewhere that has good rates or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So even joining NSTV is intentional. You know, I'm not just joining because it's fun, right? Don't get me wrong, it's fun, and I'm going to get to meet new people who are interested in the same things I am. Otherwise, why would they be in NSTV? But on top of that, fun, it's intentional. I'm going to learn some new things. Like, I'll learn how to use all the Adobe software. I'll learn how to, you know, get things out of interviewees, because they probably have, like, strategies of how to get things out of certain kind of interviewees. Like, maybe someone's really quiet and they've got a list of things or, like, some methods or some practices that they do in that situation that I don't know. You know, I could go into public tomorrow with a friend who's recording, and then I have somebody who I'm interviewing and they're not giving me what I want, and I wouldn't know how to navigate that because I don't have any experience. So being part of that group, it's going to give me lots of experience. Like, they all know what they're doing and they're all really cool. So yeah, that is going to have some good effects, or some good, I don't know what the word is. It's like consequences, but the positive version. I don't know what the word is. But yeah, that for both the YouTube and the podcast and the future. So I'm really hoping that that stuff goes well, because yeah, it would be really nice to, like, be part of a group of people who are doing similar things. And they also let me keep the IP, I guess, like the intellectual property of the thing. So it'll go on my YouTube. I just say thanks to NSTV for all the help that they gave me. And obviously I'd love to do that because, one, it shows that I've worked with some people, some organizations, and two, they help me. So if all I need to do is say, hey, look, these people help me, I'm more than willing to do that, because I wouldn't have the video without them. So yeah, if that does happen for the podcast as well as the YouTube, because that is, you know, we've already spoken about that, but the podcast as well, if we do get some visuals, that would be so cool. And if not, I have been looking at other places that I could get visuals for this podcast, like recording studios where I can literally just post up for the day, or like hire it for an amount of time and then have visuals, because I think that would make the interviews a lot better. Because the audio for interviews, when you do them over podcasts or online, it's kind of like, yeah, it's okay, but it's, you know, it could be better, right? Like, you listen to podcasts where they're all in the same room and they all have the microphone each, like, it sounds really good. So hopefully I can get to that point and get a space, because it would be really good. And it'd be really good for, like, the extra content, like reels and X posts and what the hell is the one on YouTube? Shorts. It would be really good for them, because I would have visuals. Like, if I decided to clip this stuff up, like this podcast episode right here, and do all the fun bits and things that were funny and all of that, I'd have nothing to put over them or behind them. And I thought it would be cool to do animations for that, but like I said, guys, I actually just cannot. I'm not artistic enough for that. I have all the ideas, I cannot put them into, like, I cannot work them. Like I went on Adobe Illustrator the other day, because when I was making this YouTube video, I had an idea for like, there was like a conversation between two people, one arguing something about modern society, one arguing the opposite, right? And I wanted to make this animation of them like two people talking. And I promise you guys, I couldn't do anything. I was such a bot. Like I literally, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even make a shape. It was so bad. So I'm just going to leave that to like the people that are good at that. And I'm going to focus on what I'm good at, which is the talking bit. As you can tell, 35 minutes and I don't even have a script. I don't even have talking points. So I'll stick to what I'm good at. And yeah, maybe being part of NSTV, they could do that kind of stuff for me as well. Or, you know, if they gave me a crash course on how to use Adobe, then I would learn. So yeah, that's essentially what's going on. I guess that was a little bit longer than talking about Substack. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on with NSTV and with the season 2 of my life, or my creative life, essentially. Because season 1 was, hey, I like creativity, I like producing content. And the season 2 of that period of my life is, I really want to do this. Like, I really want this to be what I do with my life. And I guess I'm in a nice position, because if it doesn't work, I still have a first class degree and I will have a master's. If I don't fail, oh God. I've been hearing people getting busted for ChatGPT, right? And even when they haven't used ChatGPT, like they would do stuff on their own and they would get busted. It would say like there's 75% ChatGPT and like people are like getting threatened to get kicked out of uni. Like, as you can tell, I've literally been here for like 37 minutes just talking. I don't need to use ChatGPT. So when I'm sat here writing my essays and I'm just writing them off the top of my head, if they say I've used ChatGPT, I'm cooked. Like, yeah, I will just tell them, hey, I didn't use it, but they'll say, yes, you did, and I'm cooked. So if there are false positives, then brother, I might not get a master's degree. But anyway, if I don't get busted for something I didn't do, then I'll have an undergrad first class degree, and then whatever I get in this master's. So I would still have options. Like, I'd still be able to do other things with my life. But, you know, you never want to just do something. You want to do what you want to do, like what you're passionate about, right? So, yeah. I guess that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. It's a bit shorter than some of the other episodes, and I feel like you probably appreciate that. And I guess it makes it easier for me to get out as well. But, yeah. My first game back today. Basketball, we have a game in... what was that, like 4 hours? And I've not played since, when was the last time I played? December 4th, because in that game, we were playing like our big rivals. Like, so we're University of Nottingham, and we were playing against Nottingham Trent University. And the first time we played them, I didn't play because I had the concussion, right? So I was just sitting on the side, and we were winning all game. We were winning by like 15 points, and then we lost. And it was like the biggest breakdown you will ever see. It was like a capitulation, bro. It was so bad. So then they came to ours, we played, and oh my goodness, we gave them work. Like, we finished the first quarter, we won like 19-3 or something in the first quarter. And by like the second, third quarter, we were up like 30 something points. So coach took me out. Like, he takes the starters out, I guess, like you would. Like, you understand how that happens. Like, you take not the best players off, because I think everybody on our team is incredibly good, and we're all basically just as good as each other. There's only one guy, Ben Holland. He's actually so fake. Like, he's just the best, and like everybody knows it. But yeah, he took the starters out, and yeah, so I was on the bench for a long time. But then we kind of started trolling, and they came back, and we were probably up by like 15, 17-ish points with about 6 minutes to go, or 8 minutes to go, something like that. So coach puts the starters back in. I don't know if I don't know if he did it because he was like, oh, we're gonna lose, or if he did it to send a message. I think it was to send a message to the guys like, hey, you gotta fucking play good if you want to play. Which is fair. And when I went back in, I was like, you know what, yeah, let's just right the ship. And we did. Like, everything was fine. Like, we were chilling. We went back up a little bit, and then I had probably the most painful injury I've ever had in my entire life. Like, this guy went up for a layup. Like, he did a pump fake. I jumped. I think I jumped on the pump fake, and then he shot it. But as I landed on his foot and rolled my ankle, and it was so bad. It was like the most painful thing ever. I've probably had worse overall injuries, but the pain of this one was so bad. So from then, I've not done anything really until this game that we have today. And even right now, like, I probably shouldn't play. Like, if this wasn't my last year and I really was, like, I want to play basketball, it's like a thing I really want to do, I would not play. But I want to play, man. I don't want to sit on the bench. Sitting on the bench is so terrible. So I'm going to see what I can do. Hopefully it's okay. And yeah, so that's in a little bit. Luckily, I don't have lectures on Wednesdays anymore, like before games, so it's very good. And yeah, we have a club social after, and everybody on our team is going out, which never happens. Like, normally we have like 4 guys, 5 guys maybe go out. Like, I've probably been out like 2-3 times this year, but today everybody is going out. So fingers crossed, it's an amazing day and it's really good. But my fingers are firmly crossed, because that day when I got injured, we also had a big club social and I was supposed to go, but I literally couldn't go anywhere. So hopefully that does not happen today. But yeah, that is all I wanted to say for today. And yeah, I appreciate you guys listening, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Reasons Podcast. Make sure to tune into the next episode.